Heungbu and Nolbu. Once upon a time in Korea, there lived a married couple with 2 sons. The older boy was named Nolbu, and the younger one, Heungbu. Although Nolbu and Heungbu were brothers, they couldn't have been more different in their dispositions. Nolbu was a heavy drinker, a rampant swearer, and a vicious fighter. He liked to sing and dance at funerals, sprinkle dirt on cooked rice, pinch little children, and fan the flames of fires. Heungbu, on the other hand, was the exact opposite of his older brother. He was gentle, polite, and all-around nice guy. When the brothers' parents passed away, Nolbu took all the inheritance for himself and kicked out Heungbu's family. And so, Heungbu's family found themselves out on the street in the dead of winter. They walked for a long time before spotting a small abandoned house with a thatched roof. As they came closer to the house, they couldn't help feeling horrified at its shabby condition. But they had no other option than to make their home there. One morning, the sound of his hungry children crying became too much for Heungbu to handle. So he went to his brother's house to beg for food. "Brother, please open the door." "What's the matter?" "Please give me some food. We haven't eaten for 2 days." "Why should I care about your starving children? Go away." The mean brother grabbed a stick and chased Heungbu away. But Heungbu couldn't return home empty-handed, so he snuck into his brother's house and saw his brother's wife scooping rice into a bowl. "Dear sister-in-law, please share that rice with me." "What's that? You want some of this rice?" Then she took the small paddle she was using to scoop rice and struck Heungbu across the cheek with it. Ouch! But lo and behold, a few grains of rice from the paddle stuck to his cheek. "Thank you, sister-in-law. You left a few grains of rice on my cheek. Won't you please slap me on the other cheek too?" Not wanting to give Heungbu even a few grains of rice, she washed the paddle with water before striking his other cheek. Ow! Heungbu and his wife worked hard, but they could barely make ends meet. Finally, the harsh winter ended and spring arrived at last. The swallows returned to the village as well. One swallow made its nest under the roof of Heungbu's house. Then one day, a large snake started slithering its way up to the swallow's nest. Heungbu quickly picked up a long stick and smacked the snake with it. Heungbu had gotten rid of the snake, but the birds were making strange sounds. "Oh dear, look! One of the chicks must have fallen out of the nest." "Don't worry, I'll fix you up." Heungbu tied the baby swallow's injured leg with a piece of cloth. Days went by, and the chick grew strong enough to fly on its own. The swallows returned to the village the following spring. I think the swallow dropped something from his mouth. "It's a gourd seed." Heungbu and his wife planted the seed and waited for it to sprout. Before long, huge gourds began to take shape. "Look at how big those gourds are. Let's harvest them and make some gourd porridge." The couple started cutting the gourds open. Before long, the first gourd was cut in half. But instead of gourd flesh, it was filled with money. This is amazing. Let's open up the rest of the gourds. They worked even faster this time. Honey, look at all this rice. Then they started sawing open another gourd. When they opened the third gourd, more than a dozen strapping young men leaped out. The men worked like lightning and built a grand mansion in no time at all. After having lived in a tiny house with crumbling walls, Heungbu's wife was overjoyed to live in such a nice big house. News of Heungbu's good fortune spread quickly. So the rumor that you robbed someone in order to get rich was true after all. Heungbu explained what had happened with the swallow and the snake and the gourd seed. I see. Hey, why don't you give me that fancy dresser? Nolbu told his wife what he had heard from his brother. So it was a gourd seed from a swallow that made him rich, huh? So they kept their eyes on the swallow's nest every day. But not a single snake showed up. So Nolbu reached into the nest and broke a bird's leg with his hand. Don't worry, I'll make your leg as good as new. Just wait. Nolbu wrapped a piece of cloth around the swallow's broken leg, and his wife asked a bird to bring them a gourd seed the following spring. When the weather turned cold, the swallows flew south, and Nolbu and his wife eagerly awaited their return. The swallows are back! And they brought a gourd seed. The couple planted the seed and it soon produced gourds. Nolbu and his wife hurriedly sawed them open. What did they find inside? Yuck! What is this smell? Out of the first gourd flowed a heap of dung. Let's open up another one. No sooner had the gourd been sliced in two when a band of robbers leaped out of it and ran away with Nolbu's belongings. From the third gourd came a bunch of police officers who immediately started beating the couple with their sticks. You think we don't know that you broke its leg on purpose? But... You also deserve to be punished for tormenting the kind Heungbu and kicking his family out. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Night fell, and with their stomachs empty, Nolbu and his wife headed to Heungbu's house. Heungbu welcomed the remorseful couple with open arms. From that day forward, the two brothers and their families lived together in harmony at Heungbu's house. And every spring, the swallows came to nest under the eaves of the roof where they stayed until late fall.